What is up? Celtics late night, slightly earlier than usual.
Yeah.
Joined by Wayne Spooney. How we doing?
Good, man, which is why I'm here, because we're slightly earlier than normal. I'm good. I will say I'm mad at this team for they proved that I don't need to worry when they were up 20 last year. And now I am back to like cheering layups when they're up 18. Like, yes, we needed that one. So that's frustrating, but hey man, good win, nice win. How you doing, Jake?
That's a great observation because in the playback stream, everybody was stressing all the way down to up 12 with 90 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And that was not the case. As recent as 3 weeks ago, the Hawks and the Clippers games have clearly, as they should. And I thought there was a chance for the Mavericks to definitely make this like a real pain in our ass. As far as timing goes and competing with CLNS, Garden Report, this is purely just a timing thing with the game being earlier and Spoonie being able to do it tonight.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all this is. It's making our lives a bit easier. And we're back. What up, Novel Green in the chat? You did call it. We're gonna be fine. So Celtics win, 122 to 107. Just a good old-fashioned 15-point win against a team that you should beat. To finish the road trip, 3-1. And again, both West Coast road trips, 3-1. You take that every day of the week, and does it feel like 3-1? No, but it doesn't matter what it feels like.
That's right. Yeah. This is a really weird game. Because like 122 is a ridiculous number to put up. I mean, not ridiculous, but that is a very healthy number. Yeah. And they shot under 43% from the floor in the game. Mm-hmm. So like part of it was you make 23s at 38.5%. The other part was like, this is a margins win. This was an effort win. 17 offensive rebounds to the Mavs, 13. And they only turned the ball over 5 times to the Mavs, I think 12. Yeah. So that's just like a massive possession advantage. And it feels like we haven't won a game like that in a very long time. So it's nice to see that back on the table.
Yeah, man. 103 field goal attempts for the Celtics to the Mavericks, 88.
It's crazy.
And it's a little bit inflated because the Mavs shot 28 free throws, but the Celtics got there 19 times. The refs, there was that little stretch in the fourth quarter, I think it was, where it was like 3 in a row. Hauser was in transition. Gafford got the offensive rebounds. Oh my God, the offensive fouls when like we're boxing out and Gafford's just falling down. He got 3 foul calls on the exact same play, all of which I thought were ridiculous. The Hauser transition, and then the Mavs were in the bonus from like 7 minutes to go. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking because it's like that is the recipe for, you know, a team to walk down a big lead like that. But thankfully it didn't matter. But yeah, margins, man. 5 turnovers. That's really impressive. And while we gave up too many offensive rebounds, we made it back with our own offensive rebounds as well. I think that's a good call as far as the effort goes. Now, I think we're going to get into Tatum and energy-wise and how he's looking. But as a team, I thought energy was there. Not perfect, and that's just basketball, but I thought they really fought defensively. And that was how they built the lead, I thought, was the defense in the second quarter. What was the score? Yeah, 34-20 in the second quarter. I thought that was where the game was won, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost like the exact margin of victory, too. And on the free throws, I think we shot 4 when the game was effectively over, too. So you're not getting away with it, Scott Foster. I remember what happened in that game, buddy. The one on Horford, especially when he boxed out Gafford. It was like a perfect box out, and Gafford just
on Al Horford.
Yeah, I know. How dare you? son of a bitch. But yeah, man, you're totally right. I think the second quarter, that I would say even starting like halfway through the first quarter, I think they started to kind of figure the Mavs out, and it's like, oh, Kyrie's the only one who can really do anything on this team. And then they put Jaylen Brown on him. I thought Jaylen was a disaster for the first like 5 minutes of this game. And then he ended up being excellent. Like he was really, really good. Once he was like, you are on Kyrie, stay on Kyrie. I thought his defense really improved. And the whole team defense sort of built out around him, and it worked really nicely. I thought, especially in the fourth quarter when it started to get tight, our switching was completely on point, like really well done. We've been blowing switches and being lackadaisical mentally, defensively. This was not one of those games. We were really locked in defensively, starting halfway through the first quarter, because the first 5-6 minutes was brutal, but after that they were good. And like if PJ Washington isn't getting superstar calls,
oh my God.
And like Daniel Gafford taking free throws for box outs, like this is a blowout. This should have been a blowout. So I think it was a really encouraging defensive performance, and they're like 5th in defense in the last 2 weeks. Like the defense is not the problem, which is good because I feel like the offense will come back.
Yeah, and I think it's skewed a little bit because the Lakers game was so painful, and people like kind of were like, "This is what's wrong." It's like you kind of had to take. You kind of just have to throw away the Lakers game. It's just a straight up schedule loss.
Yep.
And then we've talked about the Hawks game a million times. Like those two things have kind of like made things feel worse than they actually are. When you've been on it, I agree. With saying things were trending in the right direction, despite them not feeling maybe quite as good as they actually were playing. And defensively, absolutely, like the communication on point. When you get beaten and it's like, okay, I'm rotating and you kick out to the corner, man. All of those decisions and all of those communications were so much better than they had been in some previous games. That's the secret to this team. It's kind of quietly how they won the title anyway. They didn't shoot the ball that well in the playoffs. The reason they won was because even in the finals, their ability to switch on Gafford and the Luka pick and rolls, and everybody fly around and play defense and control the margins. And then you just add the additional offensive talent, and that's why this team was so good. It's been the secret sauce of this team really for the entire Jay era has been they kind of just are willing to, not even willing, they get down and play dirty. And I thought this was a scrappy win, and they actually made their threes tonight, at least across the board. And defensively was really good. That second quarter was really where I thought things got going.
Yeah, for sure. I thought the rim protection with KP and Luke was really awesome too. Like Richard Jefferson was like, oh, they just keep missing layups. But if you look at that, man, like they were shooting over and around KP and Luke, and those two did such a good job of protecting the rim. I thought KP's drop coverage was super, super good, like much improved tonight, because he was like getting out and getting back. He wasn't just like stand still at the free throw line. He's like, get out a little bit, at least, you know, let your guard get back in position, then sink back to the rolling big. He was completely on point all night with that, and he was protecting the rim like a madman. And Luke Cornett was just awesome. He only had 2 points. He had 9 and 5 assists, plus 21 game high, him and Pritchard. And I thought a big part of that was defensively, man. He was just really, really sturdy, hitting the glass on both ends. And outside of Kyrie, you know, them not having Luka means they don't really have anybody who can completely take advantage of Luke as a ball handler. And hey, guess what? That's when you get a really awesome Luke Cornett game, and we did. And it's great that he took advantage and looked like legitimately great today, I thought.
Yeah, dude, and you needed it too. So KP got into foul trouble there. He picked up his 4th foul, and I was like, is Joe going to go straight to Horford here? But he wanted to stay with his normal rotation or wanted to keep Horford's minutes down or whatever. But he went to Luke, and Luke continued to play really well. What a great stat line. 9 boards.
Draymond shit.
Yeah, dude. The 2 blocks as well. Like, yeah, man, rock solid. Continues to be like pretty solid for the most part. I understand the frustrations of going to Luke over Cater in what game was it? Was it the Clippers game?
Clippers, yeah, when we
going to
kind of
Cater
pissed it
over
away
Luke.
at the end of the game, yeah.
Yeah, because defensively he's making the right decisions, and with Cater, you kind of have to switch everything with Cater because he can't make decisions in the drop. He just gets turned around, and there's just wide open dudes and cutters, and it just is kind of a mess. But yeah, man, having Luke Cornett out there, the decision making, couldn't make a shot around the basket a little bit today, which is sometimes a Luke Cornett problem. But yeah, dude, really solid. But maybe, I don't know, story of the game here, but Derrick White.
He's back. Is he back, Jake?
Is he back? Because it started off not good. He airballed a mid-range pull-up jump shot, and I was like, oh no. He missed another floater that he makes, and I was like, oh man, we're still here. And I think I'll have to go back and look, but if you want to look at his field goals made and attempted after like he missed his first three, he was on fire. He hit the couple of when they're switching, which became like the Derrick White staple for the first 25 games of the season, was when teams switch, he's pulling the trigger, not giving teams a chance to contest. He knocked down a couple of those, got to the free throw line. Defensively, I still want a little bit more from Derrick. I feel like he's still getting beaten off the dribble, and when he's getting beaten off the dribble, he's not collecting as many blocks, or he's not protecting the rim as well as we know that he's capable of. But I wonder if there's something to the injury thing. He popped up on the injury report, and then, I mean, Simmons on his podcast was like, I think he's dealing with something, and often Simmons actually says stuff like that when he knows something. Yeah. And when Derrick White popped up on the injury report with the knee, I know it's hard because then he played so well on offense. It's like, is he injured? And the thing that I noticed that he's did more tonight, which has been something we love about Derrick White, is when it gets swung to him and it's not open, he starts his attack on the closeout before the ball gets there, and then he's either getting downhill for the floater or he had a beautiful pass to Drew for a catch and shoot three, and it's like, there he is.
That was the exact point I was going to bring up, Jake, is like, this is the first time in a while he started driving the closeout before the ball got to him, and he always used to do that. And I think it's just a confidence thing, and like, he's hopefully will start brimming with confidence because he was awesome in the second half, and it felt like we needed every bucket, even though we didn't. But yeah, like, we need Derrick to get back to that. It's so weird. Like, it feels like Drew and Derrick played so incredibly well, and I forget what that's like. And like, you look at their lines and it's like, that's like how they were playing for, a year and a half. And we're just recently have both not been great, and I've gotten kind of used to that baseline level of performance. But man, when Derrick is playing like that and he's playing confident, it just propels this team in such a different direction, man. And we need it. Like, he's our point guard, he's going to have the ball. He has the ball almost as much as Tatum does at this point. And when he's like just not looking at the rim and not confident to get downhill at all, it hijacks the offense. But even just seeing him get to the floater game, I don't even care if they go in right now. Just like, be confident enough to put it on the floor, take a bump, and get it up. And yeah, 6 free throws. Grifton one. He ran into I can't remember that bum's name. He went to Pepperdine. No. He played at the very end. He was on the Nets. Edwards.
Kessler Edwards.
Kessler Edwards, yeah. He grifted Kessler Edwards. It was a foul on Edwards, but like, the way he got to it was like, your arm's out, I'm just going to run into that and throw it up. So I love it. Very confident, move the ball. Defensively, I think you're right about the injury thing, because it's like, bigger guys are getting around him. And like, he's quick enough that like, a big dude, like, you might power through him, but you shouldn't be able to snake around him off the dribble. So that's why I think maybe there is something to the injury thing, especially if it's a knee and your lateral movement is a little slowed down. Yeah.
Good call from Brookie G in the chat. First game this season with all starters scoring 15 plus. Yeah, dude, this was definitely like a scrappy team win to me. Yeah. Like, we'll get to Tatum in a little bit here, but you like the thing you said about like getting used to the backcourt. It's like that was essentially the superpower of the team last year, was that Derrick White is a fringe all-star and Drew Holiday is the best fourth or fifth option in the NBA while knocking down 45% of his catch and shoot threes. And that's what made the Lakers game so frustrating, was because I even wrote about it a little bit for Celtics blog, was like in the 11 games after coming back from his 3-game absence with the shoulder thing, he was averaging 10 points a game on 47 from the field, 41 from three. And then he came in with rest in the Lakers game, misses the layup at the rim, like just looks like a shell of himself. And it's like, oh my God, is it injury or whatever? But this is why the team was so fucking good last year, was the Jays were also dominating, but then like, even if they weren't, you were getting these types of performances consistently from these guys. And it was like, not only were they kind of playing below that standard, Derrick in particular had been like, the pendulum had swung so far back the other direction that it was like, that's why the record has been what it has been over the past like 15, 16 games. And so to see them both play at the same time, but specifically Derrick, is like, okay, let's capture it. Let's keep it rolling until the All-Star break, and then we can go on our run.
Yeah, man, it's so nice, and I hope he builds on this, and I think he will. I thought Dallas tried to guard Drew Holiday with Gafford in the first half, and he was just like shooting wide open threes, which I thought was a really interesting strategy, to just pray Drew Holiday doesn't make wide open shots. We've seen it work before, but
for the Grizzlies,
yeah. But he shot him out of it, and then they moved Gafford over to Porziņģis, and we had to play like a little more traditionally. I thought we did just fine. I felt like the offensive process was generally pretty good. We just I don't know, man. It seems like I think it was probably Gafford was just kind of bothering our shots around the rim a lot. And just had a couple go in and out. Like Tatum had one layup where he blew by Gafford and it hit like every part of the rim and rolled out. Jaylen had a couple middies that you think probably could go down that didn't, even though he hit a lot of big ones in the fourth, I thought. So I thought offensive process wise, like pretty solid. Wasn't our best offensive game. The second quarter though, especially, it's like, this is the Celtics I remember, man. These are my guys, the cutting, the multiple attacks, the hitting open threes. Like, I miss this team.
Yeah, dude. And like entry passes were on point. Yeah. And I don't know if that's, I'm sure that's been a focus. They've been talking about it. It's like KP, it felt like, was attacking the ball. Like, get the ball. Like, because these entry passes, people are defending them and denying them. Throw the ball and KP just go get it. JB, go get it. Fight for your space. And I think that's like really important. I thought that was like, it bared out in the 5 turnovers, which I thought was huge tonight. So on Jaylen and Jayson, so start with Jayson here. I think both the Jays, but particularly Jayson, like his legs, man, he's just not bursting past dudes on drives, and people like he's settling. I do think he's settling a little bit more than usual, but he carried such a heavy load for a while. He was able to like kind of mask how Derrick had been struggling and how some other guys and Jaylen in particular had really been struggling. And I think that maybe that's caught up to him a little bit. And this is happening to a bunch of teams and players around the league. Like going into the All-Star break, this always happens. This stretch, like this is the 6th game in 9 nights. Multiple overtime games, played 43 minutes in the Clippers game. Like, it's I think it's catching up with him in the not being able to drive past guys as effectively, and just like little misses like that layup at the rim on Gafford. He had a really nice entry pass from Derrick White under the rim with Kyrie. Oh yeah, and he just missed it. He makes those 2 shots. And the stat line's 10 for 22, looks better. He had 2 threes go in and out as well, if not 3. Like, I thought the 3-point shot actually looked pretty good tonight. He definitely took a few tough ones. End of quarter 1, there was like, after they challenged the KP, they challenged something, and then Tatum had to take another like 29-footer with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Had to, in quotation marks. Oh no, I have to take this 29-footer. So like, definitely took some tougher ones, but I think you're seeing it in the rebounding numbers as well. Like 2 rebounds in the first half of today, I think, and 2 rebounds in the first half of another game recently. And I don't expect him to sit still. Like, I think he's just going to push to the All-Star break, and that's like honestly better for the team. Like even when he's inefficient, he still gave you 24 points on 22 shots. Like you kind of need like his team's still better with like the 70% version of Tatum. It feels like you've got right now.
Well, and also there's no one to replace him on the bench with, like, defensively too. Like, he occupies one of maybe our most important role defensively with his ability to cover centers and let KP roam and then switch on to ball handlers. So, like, Sam Hauser is like just fine on defense. He cannot do what Tatum does on defense. And I think the rebounding is a great point, not something I'd really considered, but it's definitely down. And yeah, he clearly just looks gassed to me. And like when he gets tired, I think he gets frustrated, and he got super frustrated with Scott Foster tonight. I don't blame him, but he took one of those terrible threes after I think he got called for a foul on Kyrie, and it was not a foul. It was a bullshit call.
And they were going back the other way too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he just took like the worst three. And it's like, dude, Scott Foster's not going to be like, damn, he got me if you make that three, you know? Like you're trying to prove a point to nobody. Like you just got to keep playing head down. Everybody knows what Scott Foster's up to, you know? Like what was this line? 9 or something, you know? Like he's keeping him in the game, whatever. You cannot let that impact your decision making. I do think like offensively he looks gassed, and I talked about it with Ben. Like his finishing around the rim has dropped pretty significantly over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that's legs, man. You don't have the strength, you don't have the burst, you don't have the lift to finish over bigger guys, 10 times a game. So there's no doubt he should absolutely take a week off. He won't. He'll probably be playing pickup at All-Star Weekend, knowing his ass, but. So I hope that he gets some actual rest and actually gets to recuperate over the All-Star break. And hopefully we're in a position where we don't really have to fight for seeding, and they can kind of downshift both the Jays the last couple weeks of the season as well. I think that'd be huge going to the playoffs.
Well, it's 72-67 in Knicks. Knicks are up 5, so hopefully they can the Kings can pull that one out. Let's
go, boys. But, always been a Sabonis guy.
Yeah. I don't know. On the seeding stuff, firstly, on the 40-20, we need to go 8-5 to get there. I know you've dispelled the fact that it's kind of ridiculous anyway, but I'd much rather hit it than not hit it. We're down to needing to go 8-5, which is nice. But I'm not sure how much of a difference there is between being the 2 and the 3 seed anyway. Yeah, the good thing about being the 3 seed is you actually get to know who your first round opponent is like 3 days in advance because of the playing game as well. But obviously you prefer to be the 2 seed. Jaylen Brown, I don't know what else to say about Tatum. Well, I guess what I'll say is it's kind of good that he's settling in a way. I know it's frustrating, but and the best version of the Celtics and Tatum is when he's getting downhill more often. But what's the point of using that energy now? If that's going to be the difference between the 2 and the 3 seed, I'd rather just be the 2 seed and have him fresh for the playoffs. It doesn't matter. You're not going to gain anything from emptying the tank more than you need to in the regular season.
Yeah, there's absolutely no need. And I get it, man. Like, we're watching all of these games. We're intent. We want to win them all. There's a bigger picture in mind. Tatum understands what that bigger picture is, and
LeBroning it, dude.
Yeah, he's LeBroning it hard right now, this stretch especially. So that means we're gonna see 5 horrible threes a game, and it is what it is. Some nights they'll go in, and we'll probably dominate on those nights, and then you get nights. He was not great tonight. I mean, there's just no where he was not good tonight.
Good enough,
but exactly that's what I was just gonna say. But he was good enough to get the win.
Yeah, dude. So keep fighting, keep grinding. We got 9 games left till the All-Star break. Just keep grinding it out. Jaylen Brown, I mean, kind of a nice stat line, but a very Jaylen Brown stat line. 22 points, 8 rebounds are nice, 6 assists to 0 turnovers. We love to see that from Jaylen. I actually thought he played pretty under control. It was just couldn't make a three and couldn't make a free throw. 0 for 5 from three and 2 for 6 from the free throw line. But like he hit some like kind of daggery mid-range jump shots both early and late. And the mid-range jump shot seems to be maybe coming back lately, which is nice. But yeah, man, could he have just gone 4 for 6 from the line and 1 for 5 from three? It's just like you give yourself an extra 5 points there.
Nope. This is Jaylen, baby. I actually thought process-wise he was great, though. I really did. He was moving the ball pretty well, and I thought especially if Tatum's not going to be able to attack a mismatch like he wasn't really able to tonight, like we need Jaylen to do it, and I thought he did a really good job getting in. Like they played a lot of zone, so there was like those mid-range areas were open, or Jaylen was just like dragging bad defenders to the mid-range area, getting to his shot and burying them. And yeah, I felt like he had momentum changing middies in that fourth quarter where like Dallas would go on a run to make it 11, and then Jaylen would hit a mid-range jumper and make it back to 13. Then we get a stop, and he'd hit another one. So I thought those were like kind of big shots, even though we had a double-digit lead the whole time. That's probably my paranoia jumping out. And like I just felt like he was moving the ball, not dribbling the air out of it at all tonight. There was a couple possessions, but like that's his job. Sometimes he's supposed to dribble the air out of the ball and go one-on-one against people. So the 6 assists are beautiful, led the team. And like I said, I thought he was a disaster defensively early and then really kind of got his head in the game and played quite well on that end. So solid game for JB. Very good game for JB. Yep. You know, you're right. He makes a 3 and he goes 4 or 6. All of a sudden it's, 27, 8 and 6. And it's like, holy shit. But he was great tonight.
Yep. Really good game from Jaylen. And I think that's big. I think we've talked about Derrick, but Jaylen as well. And that like the symptom of what's quote unquote wrong. And Derrick White in the chat's been on this right now. It's like there hasn't been anything necessary. And we've been pretty measured, I think, throughout this stretch. Like it's some shooting, there's some championship malaise. It's all very explainable stuff, even though it's very frustrating in the moment. But like the real, like if you want to boil it down to two things, it's like Jaylen and Derrick have really been struggling. So to see Jaylen have a game like this tonight, process-wise, be really good. C-Gamer in the chat, 2 for 6 from the line, 0 for 5 from 3. JB shooting is starting to worry me just a tad. Fair, man. It'd be really nice if, like, we don't need him to be... He hasn't been an elite three-point shooter for a while, but can we get to 32, 33%? Like, because right now it's fucking brutal. He cannot make a 3. He was like 8 for 9 from the free throw line in the Clippers game. That kind of just goes... Like, he's actually having he's tied for his best free throw shooting season of his career. It's just classic Jaylen Brown to be having his best free throw shooting year while now not being able to shoot from literally anywhere else, when in previous year, like last year was one of his worst free throw shooting years and he had like his best mid-range jump shooting season of all time. Yeah. Just like it just like makes no sense whatsoever. But I've been saying, like, after the All-Star break, JB typically goes on a tear, and he's talked about how he's kind of banged up right now as well. And I think that's just gone around the NBA. Teams are just like, this always happens. We're kind of scrapping and grinding to get to the All-Star break, but I think encouraging to see this from Jaylen. Porziņģis, dude's just been fucking hooping.
Yeah, man.
Like I think in January he's 50% from 3, and tonight he was 3 for 5 from 3. Like 5 assists. I thought the rebounding he struggled tonight, but like his job is protect the rim and score efficiently. 18 points on 12 shots and was the anchor of the defense all night.
5 assists, man. I was complaining about KP not moving the ball, and he has done a lot better job over the last like 2 weeks just getting the ball out of his hands if it's not there. And he had a couple post ups where he had nice moves, and like I would have bet my life those shots were going in, and they didn't tonight. So this could have been even more efficient. Like he worked himself into really good looks that just didn't go down. So yeah, I thought he was really good. Yeah, and like if you're protecting the rim, especially some of these stretches where like PJ Washington's just blowing by people, like he's gonna be out of rebounding position because he's got to slide over and help and protect the rim. So I don't blame him totally for the rebounding issues, but they're like Gafford's a load, man. Like he is tough on the offensive glass. So if there's a like I'm not shocked KP had some rebounding issues tonight, and he did. Like there's no way around it. But like for the most part, otherwise KP's been really consistent recently and really, really good. And I think he's finally getting more comfortable on the defensive end. Because I feel like that was really where he looked terrible when he first got back. Is like the rim protection was fine, but getting out, being comfortable in drop, finding his spacing, getting his defensive spacing right. Was not happening at first, and I feel like that's really come around, and like it feels like we're not forcing the post ups with him either. Again, we're kind of getting a lot better mix of him popping or him posting up, and when he's shooting 50% from three, that also helps. And his two misses were like terrible attempts. They're from like 32, so basically 3 for 3 on actual threes that weren't complete bullshit.
Yeah, dude. And man, he looks good physically. Like, I'm starting to get less worried when he's like flying around out there, touching every piece of wood near me. But yeah, like he's stringing together a little stretch of games that are both healthy and playing really well. Like I've been saying, the bad net rating numbers on the starting lineup have nothing to do with Porziņģis. There's been a little bit of an adjustment. I get it, but it had way more to do with Derrick and Jaylen just generally struggling. And now you see Jaylen, Derrick, and KP all looking pretty good together. And you kind of mostly cruise to what should have been like a 20-plus point win, if not for some referee shenanigans in the fourth quarter. But yeah, really encouraging from KP. Bench-wise, Horford,
weird bench
game. Had a couple of post-ups for Horford. I thought defensively he looked pretty good, though. I thought he was moving pretty well. Some good contests on like Kyrie and guys coming over on pick and rolls. So I get everyone's like, and we're not going to know really what the slippage was for Al until we get to the playoffs. But I can't be too worried. It'd be nice if he could start making some more threes, which him and Jaylen, like those two guys, just like haven't been able to make a shot in what feels like forever, which I think will come around. But I think physically, I thought Horford looked pretty good tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And he had, I think, 6 defensive rebounds. He had 4 offensive rebounds. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
big
reading
Al.
the wrong number. Yeah, getting on the glass, hustling, playing hard. Him and Pritchard, I felt like their energy really changed the game in a lot of ways because they came in after that disastrous 6 minutes and we immediately went on a run to like get right back into the game. Those two were just playing really hard. And I'm with you. I thought Horford's defense was really, really solid tonight. He was part of the rim protection all night as well. He definitely played a big role in that. And yeah, he got switched out on Kyrie once or twice and did totally fine like he always does. So, but man, if he's just not going to make threes, he really gives you nothing on offense these days, which pains me to say, but like the shots just got to come back for him. And I think it will, but man, it can be kind of tough. And like he gets guarded out there, and that's really the most important thing is that he creates spacing at the 5. But come on, big dog, you got to make some of these for me.
Yeah, I think, good. Again, I'm just banking the positive regression. We're finally going to get just like our devil magic 3-point run coming in the playoffs. But yeah, look, I'm seeing the physical flashes from Horford. Like defensively, that's what I care about. Like, as you said, are you getting guarded? Are you willing to shoot him? But am I just seeing that the flashes defensively of like moving his feet, getting on the boards, containing some guys on some switches? Like that's the kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, back in the garage, you go. Like that's he's going to be
back on.
Going to be so important in the playoffs, man. Like I keep going back to that. Like up and down for the Celtics right now, but like these guys have so much experience. They know like the grind of the regular season and what it takes in the playoffs. And just like Horford, 18 minutes and 47 seconds tonight. Chef's kiss.
Perfect.
Only thing that matters. And on top of the win, Sam Hauser coming along.
Yeah.
Maybe He was 5 for 7 from 3 in the Clippers game, and he ended up, I think, the game 2 for 4 from 3 in the Lakers game too in garbage time, and then he hit some big ones tonight. So last 15 games, firstly, he's played in all 15. He's played 17 and a half minutes, but he's shooting 44% from 3.
Imagine that. Sam Hauser can still shoot. Color me shocked, Jake, that Sam Hauser is still a good shooter.
Hit some big ones tonight.
He did. He hit some real big ones, I felt like. And just ones that, like, I felt like we were starting to get on a run, and then Hauser hit the 3, and it was like, okay, we're going to start blowing this thing open.
That's
which is
the Celtics.
Like, yeah, buddy.
That's what I'm saying.
This guy's hitting 3s now? Yeah, exactly. It's just like will breakers. And he finally looks, like, healthy to me. I didn't notice him at all on defense, which is like exactly what I want out of Sam Hauser. Like, it means he's not getting killed, and he's never going to be like a stocks guy. So I'm not expecting that. So totally adequate defensively from Sam Hauser. Hit the 3s he needed to hit. And he just you gotta commit a defender to him. You cannot leave him. And that just opens the floor. So it was like the perfect Sam Hauser game. 3 shots, 2 for 3 from 3. There we go, buddy. We love it.
Beautiful. Yeah, man. I think the games played is almost as important as anything else.
Yeah.
Just I would have to go back a bit further, but he hasn't missed a game in a while. 3-point shot coming back. It's just a huge part of the rotation. There's a reason why everyone was like, I can't believe Brad got this dude for $11 million. It's because 6'8", can guard, help you on the boards, shoot some 3s, not just shoot some 3s, just be a complete sniper from downtown. So encouraging, and you don't need a ton from the bench. Yeah, Pritchard's definitely I'm not sure if teams are playing him tighter. I gotta really lock in on that, but he's not getting up the same volume of shots anymore as he was earlier in the season. And I wonder if that's partly teams keying in on him a little bit more. Yeah, they're sending help. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, they're shading nail help over to him and stuff like that. So when he's getting downhill, previously it was if he beats his guy off the dribble, it's like a free layup because there's no help waiting for him there. And now, he's on the scouting report, and he's fairly high up on the scouting report now. And it feels like they're switching, they're hedging, they're really not letting him get to the pull up off of a pick and roll either. So it's just limiting, the number of shots he can take, which is a shame because we want him shooting shots. But he wasn't super involved tonight. And I think it's because, the Mavs were also in zone, and it feels like Pritchard would catch the ball and somebody would be coming at him, and he didn't want to get his shot blocked. But if he put it on the floor and took a dribble, there was the zone, you're dribbling into the teeth of the zone, which you don't really want to do. So it was kind of took Pritchard out of the game, not necessarily in a bad way. I'm glad he didn't force it, but just felt not really the matchup for him tonight. But you're right, man. Teams are trying, they're we cannot let this dude go 6 of 10 from 3 and win them the game, which he's done 10 times this year. So I get it.
But credit to him, and this is what we've always kind of said about Pritchard, is he found ways to impact the game outside of getting the shots up. 9 rebounds tonight, 4 assists, a steal. 3 of the rebounds were offensive, and maybe had one of the Rivens. I see you in the chat. I know about the rebounds and the assists. I'm getting to them, okay, brother? Happy Australia Day, by the way. And he had one of the biggest plays of one of the bigger plays of the game. Offensive rebound, kick to D White, when it felt like the Mavs were kind of walking down the lead a little bit. So finding ways to impact the game, and of the shots he did get, knocked down 2 out of 4 threes. It's just obviously when he's going 20 points a game on 70% true shooting, I mean, that's the crack that we've been injecting for a big part of the season. And we kind of thought that would come back down to earth a little bit, but so take your opportunities, knock them down when you get them, and then impact the game where you can elsewhere.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job on Kyrie too. Like Pritchard is like good on these like quick shifty guards. I mean, Kyrie had a really nice game. I mean, he kind of faded at the end, which he tends to do.
1-15 in his last 16 games against Boston.
You love to see it. And that one game was like the most meaningless game ever, game 4 of the NBA Finals, where it's like, well, we'll just beat you in 5 now. Like that game didn't matter at all. Don't stomp on Lucky, man. Like he won't be doing that again. So anyway, I thought Pritchard, he was positive, like a very positive contributor, despite not having like the flamethrower type shooting tonight.
Yep, man, solid team win. And like you didn't, I mean, Tatum ended up playing 35 tonight, but Jaylen only 30, KP under 30, Horford low, Drew under 30. It's like, okay. Because like, man, can you just buy like a few minutes? Because you don't have a single 2-day off stretch before the All-Star break. It's day on, day off, coming out of the 5 and 7 nights until the All-Star break. So nice scrappy win. You got to take care of business, which they just haven't quite been doing. Like really, it's just the Hawks and the Raptors game. I wonder how different we would feel if we had either won one of the two or won both of those games. We'd be sitting here just feeling like everything's like totally normal and fine. But right now we're like, yep, take care of business. Got to keep scrapping. Yeah. And it's just like those 2 wins just flip how we feel.
So much, man. And like even if they still won them barely, you know what I mean? Like even if they collapse and barely steal the win, so it's like a 5-point turnaround could have me feeling so different. They're 7-5 in January. So like they could be 9-3 if like they get one break different in 2 games, you know? And if they were 9-3 in January, we would not be having all these think pieces about like what's wrong with the Celtics and like, oh my God, you know, the house is burning down. Get everyone out now. Did somebody get the cat? Make sure you get the cat. Instead, we'd be like 9-3 in January. Yeah, they're finding ways to win games even when the shots aren't. You know, that's what the conversation would be.
Did you listen to the Bill Simmons
Not
pod?
yet.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, he did his like soliloquy, and I'm just like, the Lakers game was not the game to have the soliloquy after, because I was like, man, they had no chance in that game.
Yep.
That was like the easiest money I've ever made. Was like overtime game the night before against a rested Lakers team. Like, it's just you got no chance. That was not the night, I didn't think, for the think pieces. But go ahead. I think you were gonna say something before.
No, I mean I was just gonna add that like that Clippers game was physical as hell too, man.
Brutal.
That was a war. So that was the most schedule loss. Plus, it was 5th and 7 too.
Yes.
So it wasn't just a third game and 4. It was a 5th and 7. Like that's exactly what happened when we got blown the hell out by the Bucks last year. So like, what are we doing, Bill? Like, let's calm down. Like, I get we're all frustrated, but I think like to your point, it's like we don't fuck up against Atlanta, and we're 8-4 in January. And I think it's like, okay, you know, hey, we had that one shitty game, but whatever, it's no big deal. But here we are, like freaking out and worrying, and like they need to crush it going into the All-Star break, or I'm gonna be worried. Like they could not crush it. They could basically play 500 ball for the rest of the year, and they could win the title. Like that's what this team. I mean, I wouldn't be confident.
Don't do that though, please, guys.
Please don't. Yeah, please, for the love of God, don't do that. But like this team is built for the playoffs in a lot of ways, correct, with like their matchup problems and the way they can play defense.
I think we've seen evidence of the switch working as well over this stretch, where we've seen kind of soul crushing loss, and then a fine 40-point win, another blowout, and again tonight, like the defense, as we talked about earlier, being like, when you're talking about the playoffs, you're going to have one of the most versatile, impactful defenses out of any team, and then you add on the offensive talent, that is going to be so hard to beat come playoff time. So, yeah, man, things are okay. Hey, Rockets next. We'll be back, playback, late night, you know the drill, but that's going to be a fun one. They've been cooking, and if you can win that one, you get the Bulls afterwards. And I hate getting ahead of myself, obviously, but like it's like that's a big one at home where they've been. Oh God, first game back after a road trip. Here we go again. But against the Rockets, who were just like fucking
try hard,
kind of the team that's, you know, has the propensity to bring out some of the frustrating elements of the Celtics, like, you know, if I maybe you want to bet on the turnovers for that game,
Take the over.
Could be an over on that one, but yeah. Again, the Rockets are up 8 on the Cavs right now. That would be nice. I would love a Cavs 3-5 stretch over the past 8. That would be lovely.
That would be so nice, man. If we could like shrink that lead to like 4 by the All-Star break, man, we're getting close. We're getting kind of close with this stretch. That would be very nice. Keep us in viewing range of them. And I just think like it would feel less bad. Like if the Cavs were like 34 and whatever instead of whatever the record is, I feel like we would feel a lot better as Celtics fans. But the fact that them and OKC are so dominant, it makes this stretch feel shittier.
Agree. What makes us, it's like if things were so bad, the Knicks would have caught us by now, you know?
Right.
Like, and they haven't. Alrighty, Spoonie, it's been a pleasure doing late night with you, everybody. Good to see you all. We'll be back for many more Celtics games to come before now and the All-Star break. But yeah, Spoonie, been a pleasure. Till next time. Go
See you,
Celtics.
buddy.